Hey, it's Patriot Smoothie. Welcome to the Day 13 summary video. I was trying to film yesterday, had some problems, decided to do it again from the studio, and I hope that's okay. We're going to go quickly over what happened yesterday and talk about it. So yesterday, Magus started by continuing her cross-examination of Serge Arpin, former Chief of Staff to former Ottawa Mayor Jim Watson. And in that, we found out that Keith Wilson and Serge Arpin had a discussion concerning starting to move trucks on the 14th, and that there was police confusion around a command issue. Basically, that the OPS, the Ottawa Police Services Board, which is an independent body that regulates them, separate from City Council, issued a statement that there was going to be an imminent police chief change. And then the next day, on the 15th, former Ottawa Chief Peter Slolia, a police chief, was out. And then we move on to the evening of the 15th, where Wilson and Arpin had communications that they wanted to move 40-plus trucks the next day, and that there was room on Wellington to fit them there. And then it was almost, and that would almost clear out the remaining residential areas with the big rigs. And then Arpin replied saying that asking how many trucks were actually moved that day. Wilson answering that they got shut down in the morning of the 15th by police on the ground, stopping them because the window had closed. The police thought that the moving of trucks was only a limited 24-hour window. Going back to previous testimony, you may recall it being testified that the city believed the operation would take 48 to 72 hours because it was a complex logistical issue of getting every truck to agree to move and then to actually move them past the barriers, past the police cars, past everything else onto Wellington or the other staging areas or out of town. So that was something the city was well aware of, but yet there's this massive miscommunication with the police. Then the new police chief, who then was former Deputy Chief Bell, became Acting Chief Bell and made a memo immediately to all police that there was going to be no more movement of any kind of trucks anywhere. So that's what we were dealing with on that day immediately. So again, the command change and the police made the deal difficult, to say the least. Then Arpin apologized to Wilson in a text message because he viewed the failure to move the trucks as a failure on the side of the city with their goodwill agreement. So Arpin actually texting Wilson that he was sorry, and that after that, and Arpin agreed in general that Keith Wilson shared his goal of de-escalating the protest, that he was communicating honestly, and so on and so forth. Arpin sent a message. By the way, so now back to the trial, Serge Arpin testifying yesterday, but sometime between last night and this morning, Serge Arpin sending a message to the Crown last night or this morning, hoping to clarify something he testified about. Now, he was told not to contact anyone by the judge, as all witnesses are, about this, about his evidence and so on. That includes the Crown. The Crown did not respond to that, and Greenspun pointing out that the Crown rightfully did not respond and forwarded the communication that they received from this current witness at the time to the defense teams, which was the correct to do. The witness was then asked to leave the courtroom. Magus and Greenspun disagreed with Arpin being given the opportunity to clarify anything, because basically that's what he wanted to do. The Crown took a different position. The judge said, of course, that was a moment of levity, and passed Arpin's message in lieu of him in the room, because he was asked to leave, to the court. And basically he wanted to clarify something concerning his notes to file question that was raised yesterday, on day 12 in quite some detail. Justice Perkins McVeigh responding that the issue had been thoroughly canvassed, and if it wasn't so thoroughly canvassed, she may have agreed with the Crown and let this, let some more probative thing happening here with the witness concerning that. But she said, no, it's thoroughly canvassed. We're moving on. Thoroughly canvassed, not canvassed. We're moving on from this. And that's where that got. And then Magus and then Arpin agreed with Greenspun on cross later on that a bylaw, which was, I believe, 22-44, was designed to target truckers, to freeze them out, as Greenspun put it, because it lowered the temperature by which it was legal to idle in if you're in the truck from -5 degrees Celsius, including wind chill, to -15 degrees Celsius, including wind chill, which obviously was an intention from the city to try and freeze truckers out, and Arpin agreed that seemed to be what the bylaw was trying to do. So an interesting confession there, that they lowered the idling temperature for occupied vehicles in the red zone demonstration area from -5 to -15. That's the kind of thing, that's not a very goodwill maneuver there, but I do believe that happened before the February 13th, February 12th deal. Arpin agreed. So Arpin posited in a call to Steve French, who's a former member of the Premier's Office of Ontario, who was acting as sort of an in-between, a third party between the city and the protesters to try to facilitate this deal in the first place. This, the letter from the mayor's office, the things the mayor wanted to happen before he sent that letter, and then of course telling the mayor's office that yes, the protesters are serious. Yes, these organizers have influence over enough of these protesters, the broad center moderate protesters who just wanted to have mandates removed, and that dealing with them is not a waste of time. And then once all the preconditions were met, the mayor's office sending that letter drafted by Mr. Arpin and stamped by a member of the administrative team of the mayor's office there. And all right. So he posited in a message to Steve French, Mr. Arpin posited, he put it forward that he did not believe the majority of protesters wanted to hurt any of the citizens, that they were there to basically challenge the government of Canada on these mandates. Another interesting on re-examination and in cross, Arpin admitting that it was fair he told someone that large swaths of the downtown were being cleared on February 14th. The 40 heavy trucks moved on February 14th, 102 vehicles in total. He later clarified that there was some jockeying of cars trying to get in positions, but he did admit under oath that once police moved trucks out of an area, they generally took it back and they held it, and the protesters did not regain it. So once the movement happened and the block was clear, the police took it. He also, that was clarified on day 12, I believe. Also on day 13, more of that, he was asked by both Cross and Crown on re-examination how he actually knew that was happening. He said he sent a staffer down, I believe it was Bank Street, and Bank Street was clear for four blocks all the way up to Wellington. He said he could even see a lone police vehicle by a pylon, which indicated that the street was completely clear. There was no obstructions before. It had been 3 rows wide and blocks deep of trucks. So that's what we're talking about there, that there was some serious progress being made with this good faith deal. And then he elaborated on that staffer. One other really interesting thing coming out, that re-examination, during Crown re-examination, it came out that Arpin testified most of the buildings on Wellington were empty because federal employees were working from home. The defense team seemed very happy about this testimony. I think that'll be significant later. Then Serge Arpin was dismissed as a witness. We've also gone through OPS Sergeant Pilote, Homicide Sergeant Pilote. We've gone through Officer Barlow of the OPS. We've gone through Kim Ayotte of the Ottawa City. He's a general manager, current of Emergency Services and Preparedness, and some other witnesses. Sorry, guys, I'm losing track, but that's where we are. That was day 13. Now we are breaking for 2 weeks, so there will be no court for the next 2 weeks. We will come back to trial on October 11th. I will see you then from Ottawa. I am Patriot Smoothie.